Hello, and welcome. Welcome to our boot camp, our 5-day boot camp. I always say to people who join things like this, who join our boot camps or do our masterclass or our challenges or join our membership, I always say, well done, because it's a massive step you've just taken. It means that you've accepted that, yes, there might be a little problem with alcohol here. And then you've actually reached out and done something about it. You've reached out for help. Because did you know that 90% of people who are struggling with addiction, some kind of dependence, alcohol dependence included, they don't reach out. They just struggle along in shame and silence. And that is such a shame, because there is a way out of this thing. So it's a cliche, isn't it? But I really believe that today could be the first day of the rest of your life. So why not hang in there and see if it is? Do the work, stick with us, and I promise you're going to be in a different place by Friday. And if you're really serious about making a change this week, then I do urge you to really dive in. Set some time aside every single day to work on this. You don't have to watch all the lives live. You can catch up at the end of the day, but make sure that you do the task, you watch the videos, you read the articles, and probably most importantly, that you comment and you connect with the other boot campers, because connection is the opposite of addiction. So let's get connected, guys. Don't be a spectator, be an active participant. By now, you should have watched my welcome talk from yesterday, which explains how the week is going to pan out. And you should have printed out your 5-day tracker and introduced yourself on the group. Monica is my bootcamp wing woman. She keeps the show on the road, so to speak. So Monica's just posted a graphic asking you what you want out of this bootcamp. So please reflect on that, answer the question, because the more that we know about your expectations, the more we can tailor this week to make sure that it really works for you. It's going to help you to get focused, and it'll help us to tailor the sessions. Some of you have already been posting, which is great. So please just keep those comments coming in. Thank you for completing our survey, by the way. To those of you that are feeling anxious at the thought of 5 days without alcohol, I've got 2 things to say to you. First of all, if you're anxious about the thought of 5 alcohol-free days, then that's a sure sign of dependence, and you absolutely need to take a break, and you are in absolutely the right place. So well done. And secondly, I would say that anxiety often stems from a fear of failure. But there's no such thing as failure at Tribe Sober. We either succeed or we learn. So for these 5 days, don't think, oh, I can't do 5 days. What happens if I slip up? What happens if I fail? You've got 5 days ahead of you with a lot of resources to keep you on track. But if you slip up one day, then you slip up. It doesn't mean that you failed, because we have a different approach at Tribe Sober. We've got activities for 7 days. So why not ask yourself, how many alcohol-free days can I manage? We have 100-day challenges sometimes. And I say to people, think of it as a percentage. If you drink on 5 of those 100 days, then you've still got 95%. And I don't know about you, but when I was at school, if I got 95%, I'd be feeling pretty pleased with myself. It's all about reframing and looking at things differently. We're so keen to beat ourselves up, aren't we? But please don't do that. So those of you that are anxious, let's try and take the pressure off, shall we? Ideally, we'd like you to be excited at the moment, but if you can't get excited, then at least be curious. Keep an open mind and see it as an experiment. I'm always saying to people, be a scientist in your own life. It's fascinating. Put on your white coat, get your notebook, and write about what happens. Because after 5 days without it, I promise you that you'll feel a lot calmer and less anxious, and I think you'll even be feeling a little bit excited. I can also promise you that by Friday, you'll start seeing alcohol for the mind-altering poison that it is, and realizing that it adds absolutely nothing but trouble to your life. You will have swapped your anxiety for excitement about the opportunities ahead. So let me start this boot camp with my session on mindset, which is going to happen live at 5 p.m. South African time. There's still 1 hour difference between us and UK. In US, my live session will be in the morning for you. So it's a good thing to get up and watch that live training. It'll put you in the right frame of mind for the day. While I'm here, I'd like to thank all the Tribe Sober ambassadors and cheerleaders that are dropping in to cheer you on. Some of those people kickstarted their alcohol-free lifestyle with a Tribe Sober Bootcamp, and now they want to help you to do the same. How cool is that? I just love this pay it forward sentiment that we have going for us in the tribe. Because I can tell you that boot camp works till I'm blue in the face, but there's nothing like hearing it from people who have done it and they know for themselves that it works because they're thriving in their alcohol-free lifestyles. So let me get to task 1, which is all about changing those false beliefs that we hold about alcohol. Those beliefs that have been planted in our subconscious minds by big alcohol and peer pressure. Today, we're working on your mindset, which is actually the key to change. This journey is not about willpower, it's about mindset. And we want you to understand that willpower isn't going to help you to make a permanent change. It might work for a dry January, or you can grit your teeth and get through this week. But if you're not seeing alcohol differently, you will always feel deprived. And who wants to go through their life feeling deprived? Willpower is what most of you are using when you hop on and off that wagon. I've got a nice analogy that I like to use about willpower. I don't know if any of you can swim underwater. Well, I can do it for a little distance, but not very long. But there's some champions out there, aren't there? There's some people that can do a whole length of a big swimming pool underwater. And that's fantastic. But at some point, those people, those humans, will have to come up for air, won't they? And that's exactly what it's like when you use willpower to change your drinking. You can grit your teeth and keep going and going. You won't feel particularly happy or comfortable during this period, but you may be determined just to keep going. But at some point, you're going to find yourself thinking, oh, yeah, I've had a long break. Maybe I can have a glass of wine now. And then it all goes pear-shaped, of course. So please, one thing you must take on board today is that willpower doesn't work. And that is very probably where you've been going wrong in the past. So as I explained in the welcome talk, every single day we have a task because we want you to reflect on your relationship with alcohol. Big alcohol has been telling us for years, haven't they, that their product is a magic potion. They spend trillions of dollars trying to convince us of that fact, and they are stunningly successful. That's why we're here, let's face it. They tell us it's glamorous and it's essential for socializing and relaxing. Well, we've got to shift those beliefs. We need to deprogram ourselves because we've been programmed, we've been manipulated for decades, and now we've got to fight back. For me, it's a bit like being in a cult. When people are rescued from a cult, they have to be deprogrammed. And that's exactly what we're trying to do for you guys. We're trying to help you escape from the cult of alcohol. So what stories about alcohol are currently playing out in your head? Are you thinking, oh no, but I can't have fun without it? How do I relax at the end of the day? My friends are all going to drop me. All these fears that we have rushing through our mind. So let's find out what these stories are, first of all. So please download task 1, which Monica will have posted probably while I'm talking. If you can't find it, just shout out on the group. Download that task, print it out, and fill in the questionnaire, and then post it in the group. We ask how old you were when you started drinking, because that does have an impact. If you started drinking heavily at 14, 15, then you're pretty much guaranteed to have a problem at some point in your life. The same goes with having alcoholism in the family. But please don't think there's no hope if that's the case, because there very much is. To anybody here that is thinking, oh, I've got it in the family, I'm pretty much doomed. Remember that genetics is like a gun, but your finger is on the trigger, and that trigger is basically your lifestyle. And as I said at the beginning, there is a way out of this. And I think some of our cheerleaders, ambassadors, will be very happy to drop in and say that they had alcoholism in the family, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get it. It might mean that you have to work a bit harder to make sure that you don't go down that path. But with us, you'll be able to do it. So we ask you, how old were you when you started drinking? How many years have you been drinking regularly? There is a school of thought that says that 20 years of regular social drinking will result in dependence for 20% of population. So I always think that's quite interesting. What's your average weekly consumption? And are you worried about your drinking? Presumably yes, or you wouldn't be here. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can do this boot camp? 10 is super confident. 1 is not at all confident. If you're not at 10, what is the biggest thing standing in your way? So please post in the group your confidence score. Is it 1 or is it 10 or is it 5? What is it? And what is the one thing standing in your way if you're less than a 10? What's the main thing you want out of boot camp? Today is the day for setting your intention. And then on Friday, we can reflect on those intentions. Did you achieve what you wanted to? Monica's going to indicate where to post your replies. And she'll be posting an article called Changing Your Thinking About Drinking. So please read that. Listen to the podcast of the day, which is all about sobriety myths and busting them. Comment and share on the group during the day. If you've got any questions, just stick them in the comments somewhere. And I'll be back at 5 p.m. South African time with your training session on changing your mindset. So have a wonderful alcohol-free day, and I will see you later.